When we think of knights, we imagine scenes straight out of movies: grand castles, shining armor, noble heroes rescuing princesses. But the real life of a knight was far from glamorous. It was hard, dangerous, and not always heroic. In this video, we'll uncover who knights really were, what they ate, how they trained, what they did in times of peace, and why not all of them were saints. Get ready, we're going deep into the Middle Ages. A knight wasn't just a soldier, he was part of an entire social class. To become a knight, a boy had to go through a long journey. Page. At around age 7, boys were sent to a castle to learn manners, ride horses, serve meals, and watch older warriors. Squire. By age 13 to 14, they trained with real weapons, cared for armor, and followed knights into battle. Knighthood. At 18 to 21, if they proved their courage, they could be knighted during a ceremonial ritual and given their own sword. Fun fact. Sometimes, boys were knighted on the battlefield, immediately after doing something heroic. A castle wasn't a fairy tale palace. It was more like a fortress. The walls were cold stone, the halls were dark, and the air smelled of smoke, sweat, and animals. Windows were small to block arrows, so even in the daytime, castles were dim. Knights slept on wooden beds with straw mattresses and ate mostly bread, porridge, meat, and cheese. For fun, they hunted, played chess, and enjoyed long feasts. Fun fact, castle bathrooms were just holes in the wall leading outside. The smell was very medieval. In books and movies, knights are perfect gentlemen. Reality was very different. Hygiene. Knights rarely bathed because many believed bathing made you sick. Behavior. Some knights acted more like mercenaries, raiding villages when they weren't paid. Morality. The chivalric code was more of an ideal than a rule. Many knights ignored it completely. Most of the time, there were no major wars. Knights guarded castles, escorted merchants, trained in the yard, and took part in tournaments. Tournaments were massive public events, colourful banners, music, cheering crowds. They were part sport, part festival, and part training for war. Real plate armour weighed around 20 to 30 kilos, about the same as a modern soldier's gear. A trained knight could run, fight, mount a horse, and even do somersaults in armour. The myth that a knight couldn't stand up after falling comes from later theatre costumes, which were much heavier. Not every knight was a shining hero. Some were brutal. They looted villages, took hostages, and fought for whichever lord paid them most. Knights were just as capable of cruelty as of bravery. Not every squire became a knight. You needed money to buy armor, weapons, and a warhorse. Some squires waited years for the chance to be knighted, and some died before it ever happened. When there were no wars, knights still trained daily. They went hunting, held tournaments, and sometimes studied reading and writing. Some even wrote poetry or played music for noble ladies. But others preferred taverns and drinking. The life of a knight was full of danger and challenges, but also honor, pride, and adventure. Knights shaped much of medieval culture, and their legacy still fascinates us today. Which of these facts surprised you the most? Leave a comment and subscribe for more deep dives into history.